Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Craig. I am one of your uh, recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center, and this recording is live. And tonight is our family recovery support group. We're going to be sharing. I'm going to be sharing. If anyone join us, we're going to be sharing information. We may have a group discussion or conversation. Uh, However, I have a very interesting article. I think is very informative, uh, to say the least. And this article is brought to us by, I went online, I Googled it, and it's from American Addiction Centers.org. Once again, American American Addiction Centers.org. O-R-G. All right. So without further ado, let's see what today's title is. How does addiction affect family? Remember, I said this is our family meeting. We're going to be sharing some information that can help families, my family, your family, and the like. All right. And with this is our recovery support group. You can see the information scrolling at the bottom of your screen, I will hope. And so let's get right to it. All right. So this article starts us off with first topic of discussion, and it reads addiction in the family, right? Addiction in the family. Family can be one of our greatest sources of physical security and emotional support. But family environments can also foster destructive emotions and behaviors, including substance misuse and addiction. The genetic ties that make blood relatives so close can also hold the seeds of compulsive or addictive behaviors. And the self-harming action that children observe in their parents can become habits that affect their lives as they grow. Partners or spouses may feel deeply betrayed or abandoned if the person they love turns to alcohol or drugs, right? So we're talking about family, we're talking about relationships. This article make mention of. All right. It say understanding the nature of addiction and the treatment option can help family members avoid the cycle of addiction or remain close if substance use affects their lives. So it talks about the emotional aspect, talks about the environmental, right? And so let's go dive a little deep. No matter how much an individual knows about addiction, it can still come as a shock to find out that a relative has a substance use problem. While facing the reality that a loved one is addicted can be heart wrenching, it is easier to confront that reality with the support of professionals and experts who understand the disease of addiction. Substance use counselors, family therapists, marriage counselors, spiritual leaders, school counselors, and intervention specialists are a few of the guides who can help families cope with the effects of addiction and mend broken bonds. Learning about the experiences shared by families struggling with substance use and the resources available to cope with those experiences can make it easier to overcome this all too common disease. Right? And so, as I was just reading that, I thought about what made me uh, choose this article. First of all, I started out searching and I was looking at what are some of the stigmas that families face when it comes to drug addiction. There's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of labels being put on uh, people like myself who experienced with drugs, alcohol, and I know how that stigma can, or those labels can be very detrimental to individuals, to family members. And so that's one of the reasons why I chose this article. Uh, how does addiction affect family? And so I just want to give you some context of what this article is really focusing on. A lot of stigma that individuals face and how family members face and how individual within the family context. All right. And so let's move a little further on. Now that I made mention of that, the next topic of discussion is how does an addiction develop, right? Addiction is a chronic health condition characterized by compulsive substance seeking behavior and use despite harmful consequences. While addiction may arise as a result of several contributing factors, a significant part of development of addiction involves changes in brain function. Drugs and alcohol can interfere with the way the network of neurons that process and transmit information in the brain function. Over time, heavy and chronic substance use can alter feelings, perceptions, thought processes, and behaviors in a way that reinforces continued problematic substance use. All right. So this article says over time, heavy and chronic substance use can alter feelings, perceptions, thought processes, and behaviors in a way that reinforces continued problematic substance use. The use of alcohol and certain types of drugs can increase the activity of dopamine, a chemical messenger responsible for things like motivation and the reinforcement of repeating certain behaviors. Activity in the brain. The body naturally releases dopamine doing pleasurable activities like spending time with loved ones or having sex. So when addictive substances artificially increase dopamine activity, it can serve as a powerful reinforcing signal to continue drinking or using the drugs in question, right? And so, who don't love the activity of pleasurable spending time with family, having a good time with your loved ones, things of that nature? But when it induced, as this article says, when artificial substance, addictive substances that's artificially introduced into the brain, it makes you want to crave that feeling over and over. So you may want to say, well, why is my loved ones continually using day in or day out? And I know when I was using because the imaginary or the temporary substance or the feeling or the pleasure uh, psychologically, I thought was the ideal norm. It became my thought process. You remember, I talked about how it mess when you use drugs, it mess with your perception. So a lot of times, people I know, let me keep it focused on me. My perception of using the drug was that a relief mechanism. So whenever a problem or situation occurred, I would turn to drugs and alcohol as a relief mechanism, not knowing how to cope. So I had to learn going through treatment, therapeutic treatment. I had to learn some skill sets how to cope whenever a situation or a problem will occur. How will I respond? How would I allow myself or to be placed in situations when I know for a fact that those situations can trigger a bad response through my behavior. All right, enough of that on me. I just want to share that aspect with you. All right, and so the article goes on to say with regular prolonged use, an individual can lose the ability to control their substance use. Additionally, once the body and brain become accustomed to having the substance present, stopping use or cutting back can cause uncomfortable withdrawal symptoms to surface, which can contribute to the ongoing cycle of substance use and addiction. Okay, I hope that sums it up more adequately. Next topic of discussion: substance use. How big is the problem? Question mark. In particular cultural stereotypes. All right, remember I was talking about stigmas and stereotypes and labels. This article says in popular cultural stereotypes of the American family, drugs and alcohol are not part of a happy household. Yet, statistics indicate that the problem of substance misuse affects people from all walks of life, including parents, children, spouses, and partners living in otherwise normal homes. According to the 2023 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, 70.5 million Americans aged 12 and older used illicit drugs in the past year. That's not too far ago. We are in the year 2025. This survey was conducted in 2023. All right? And so others include prescription psychotherapeutics, such as pain relievers like Oxycontin, Percocet, Vicodin, and fentanyl, central nervous system stimulants, and opiates. Besides illicit substances, alcohol misuse continues to be a prevalent problem in many American households. Among the 134.7 million Americans aged 12 and older who reported drinking alcohol in 2023, 16.4 million were past month heavy drinkers. Were what? They were past month heavy drinkers. And 61.4 million were past month binge drinkers, according to the National Survey on Drugs, right? National Survey on Drug Use and Health. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, right, defines binge drinking as a pattern of drinking alcohol that brings blood alcohol concentration, BAC, to 0.08%. For a typical adult, this pattern is associated with the consumption of 5 or more drinks in a 2-hour period for men and 4 or more drinks in the same period for women. Heavy drinking is defined as the consumption of 5 or more alcoholic beverages on any day, or the consumption of 15 or more drinks in a week for men. For women, consuming 4 or more drinks in a day or consuming 8 or more drinks in a week constitute heavy drinking. All right. And so those are some statistics that was conducted 2 years ago, not too far removed from this year, 2027. This was conducted in 2023. All right. And so you can see the staggering numbers in the millions. All right. In the hundreds of millions. All right. Not just 1 million, 2 million, in the hundreds of millions. And some of them 64.4 million. All right. Some of them higher than that. Next one, let's go on. Let's continue on with our current segment. Signs and symptoms of substance use. No matter how well we think, all right? Let me read that again. No matter how well we think we know the people we share our homes and hearts with, every individual is capable of keeping secrets. Addiction, by its nature, drives the individual to suppress painful emotions and harmful behaviors in order to fuel episodes of drinking or using drugs. The signs of addiction can range from obvious to subtle, revealing themselves in an individual appearance, behavioral moods, mental function, occupational status, or finances. Perhaps most importantly for families, addiction can affect the quality of interpersonal relationships. Addiction can undermine formerly strong relationships, creating an atmosphere of distrust and provoking feelings of betrayal. When looking for the potential signs of addiction, remember that substance misuse affects many areas of an individual's life and can mirror other mental health conditions such as depression or anxiety. Only a only a healthcare professional can diagnose. Let me read that again. We want to be clear on this. Not a recovery coach. This article makes mention only a healthcare professional can diagnose an individual with a substance use disorder, right? A licensed counselor. However, it can be beneficial to understand the criteria which clinicians use to determine the likelihood and severity of a substance use disorder. All right, and so it's always I recommend, it's been stated over and over when it comes to getting the best help, when it comes to being diagnosed, always seek professional advice. All right, let's go on. All right, Mr. Serrano. Let me see. Let me add you on. Hey,
Hello.
how you doing, brother?
I'm in pain.
All right. Well, me and you had a discussion earlier, so I know your intentions are are good, that you want to be here. So I'm gonna allow you to be excused for tonight, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. I understand your situation, and I'll be in contact with you. All right?
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man. Take care. All right. So back to the segment. That was Mr. Serrano. He is someone who's going through, as you heard him mention for himself, situation. So I'm going to allow this young man to get some rest. Let's go on to the next topic of discussion, and that is signs of addiction in the family. Signs of addiction in the family. According to the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders, Fifth Addiction, DSM-5, the criteria for a substance use disorders. All right. And so this is coming out, one of the books that most clinicians use, those who have obtained their CADC, Certified Alcohol and Drug Counseling certification, those who are moved on into the license aspect, they use this. A lot of people use it, not just counselors. They use it for many different reasons, but that's neither here nor there. We want to talk about signs of addiction in the family. Number one, an individual takes the substance in greater doses or for longer than they intended, right? We're talking about signs of addiction in the family, right? Based upon the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorder. All right. Number two, the person wants to cut down or stop using the substance, but are unable to do so. Right? We're talking about signs of addiction. Number three, they spend a good deal of their time getting, using, or recovering from the substance. Number four, the individual craves the substance. Number five, the person is unable to complete tasks at school or work as a result of the substance use. Number six, they continue to use the substance even when it causes problems within their relationships. All right? Number seven, the individual give up important work, social, and recreational activities because of the substance use. Number eight, talking about signs of addiction in the family. The person uses the substance repeatedly, even though it puts them in danger. Right? Number nine, they continue to use despite the fact that substance use is causing a decline in their physical or mental health. Number 10, the individual requires more of the substance to get the desired effect. In other words, they have built a tolerance to the substance. All right? We talk about signs of addiction in the family. Number 11, and that is the person experiences withdrawal symptoms when not taking the substance, and they can only relieve their symptoms by taking more of the substance, right? So that is what they call withdrawal symptoms, all right? And so the article goes on and says the last two criterion are not considered to be met for individuals taking prescription medication under medical supervision. All right. If you said yes to at least two of the above, you should strongly encourage your loved one to make an appointment with their doctor. Sometimes it can be tempting to mask the problem by contributing it to outside circumstances. Listen to the circumstance that the article talks about. She's going through a rough time since she's got divorced, or he'll stop drinking once he's done with this stressful project. However, a pattern of problematic substance use indicates that the person, as well as the entire family unit, needs help and support in order to recover from the disease. You may be ask yourself, if the person is using, then why the family have to go get help and support? Because a lot of time it's not only an individual disease. Drug addiction is not only a individual disease. A lot of times the family are being affected by their loved one drug addiction. All right, and so that's why most of the time you may hear people or you may read articles and you may go to a recovery support group and they may express the importance of family getting involved to better understand how they can be supportive, how they can know what to look for, and how to be there for their loved one during this time of their disease. I hope I'm making some sense, and I hope that I'm not speaking out of context there. But from my understanding of knowing about the importance of the individual hurting and harming themselves, but also we went over many segments about how those who in the family unit have been either betrayed by their loved ones or have stolen things, have caused financial burden, may have caused them to become an enabler. Family members become an enabler, thinking that they're helping their loved ones when all in actuality they are doing more harm when they enabling their loved ones to continue their drug addiction behavior. All right. So I think this is a very informative article that I want to share because a lot of times we don't have all the answers. We may think we know it all. And then we might think, oh, I've read enough, I don't seen enough, X, Y, Z. But the more you allow yourself to be informed, the more you can be better prepared and equipped to take action. All right. Next one we want to talk about: how does addiction affect a family? Substance misuse and addiction affects a family on every level. All right. Emotional, psychological, financial, and social. A parent's preoccupation with getting drunk or high can lead to neglect or abuse. The use of alcohol and drugs can lead to financial hardship, poverty, or bankruptcy. Shame and embarrassment over a family member's intoxicated behavior can lead to social isolation and the avoidance of friends or relatives outside the home. These factors can create a destructive cycle in which substance misuse leads to emotional pain or mental instability, which can trigger an even greater craving for alcohol or drugs. Remember, it talks about the tolerance, right? When a person crave, when they get to a point. I know when I was using drugs, my tolerance level will get higher and higher. When I say higher and higher, I mean that it would elevate. It becomes elevated to the point over a course or a period of time when I felt that the the drug that I was using at that time wasn't bringing about the desired uh, results in which I was seeking. So that's where the tolerance, where you crave for something more or stronger. And that's what abuse, drug abuse look like, all right? Or substance abuse look like, or substance abuse disorder. All right. It says, worst of all, addiction undermines the loving, trusting relationship a that sustain a healthy family. Let me read that adequately because I don't want to mislead no one. These factors can so we talk about how does addiction affect the family. It goes on to say these factors can create a destructive cycle in which substance misuse leads to emotional pain or mental instability, which can trigger an even greater craving for alcohol or drugs. Worst of all, addiction undermines the loving, trusting relationship that sustain a healthy family. Children may be forced into a parental role by parents who can no longer function independently. Spouses may hide their addiction from their partners, lying about their actions or expenditures. Parents of addicted children may go to great lengths to rescue a son or daughter from a destructive lifestyle, only to experience the heartbreak of seeing their child return to that lifestyle again and again. Restoring those relationships which were often damaged long before the substance misuse began requires time, patience, and the support of knowledgeable addiction professionals. Right? Moving right along. How addiction affects children. The United States national and state estimates indicate that 21 million American children live with at least one parent who misuse alcohol or drugs, and more than 2 million live with at least one parent with a substance use disorder. Children of parents who misuse drugs and alcohol are at an increased risk of neglect, poverty, and mistreatment, as well as a higher risk of developing a substance use disorder themselves. There is no doubt that parental substance misuse interferes with the physical and emotional development of children, yet, addiction also affects the health of the family as a whole. For all members of a household, to have rewarding relationships and healthy lives, substance use treatment must address everyone in the family. Let me read that again. All right. It says, for all members of a household to have rewarding relationships and healthy lives, substance use treatment must address everyone in the family, not just the individual who use drugs or alcohol. When researching the resources available for families affected by addiction, it is important to consider the emotional, psychological, and physical needs of all individuals who occupy the home, right? It's not an individual disease. Addiction is not an individual disease. It affects everyone in the home, all right? So just some word to the wise. I just wanted to share some information because I am someone who lived that experience and I know the damage that it's caused me personally, my family. And so just wanted to share something, hopefully that we can be of some significance to someone who may need help. Because help is out here. A lot of times we may say, "Oh, I got it." I know I used to say when I first started out, "Oh, I got it. Everything good." I stopped on my own. Until I ran into a snag. Not until I began to live a destructive lifestyle. That's what I mean by that. When I began to live a destructive lifestyle through my perception, through my behavior, that's when my life, or the reality of my life, or the normalcy of which I thought was normal, wasn't normal anymore. All right, the normalcy that I thought was normal, it was what we call maladaptive, right? Maladaptive behavior is unhealthy behaviors, right? And so we're going to keep moving because I feel like reading the whole article today. And so let's get right into it. So the next one I want to share is how to approach addiction in the family. It's never easy bringing up the subject of substance misuse with a family member, but in most cases, the person with the problem will not be the one to initiate this conversation. Whether your loved one is your child, parent, or partner, there are certain techniques you can use that will help to make this difficult discussion a little easier and less painful. By the same token, some approaches and attitudes should be avoided to reach your goal of getting help for your loved one. All right? So there are certain techniques, there are certain things we can say can be harmful, painful. Then there are some things we can say to our loved one that can be very compassionate, something that we can say that will let them know that we are there for them and we are in their corner, right? And so help is always something that we all can use at times. We don't have it all figured out. I know I don't have it all figured out. I need help. To this day, I need help. But that don't mean for me to sit on my hands and not do nothing. So one thing about people who see people who helping themselves, who trying to help themselves, people be more than willing to extend themselves to help you get on the right track. Next topic of discussion: what is an intervention? Intervention typically involves several loved ones who gather together in a safe space to talk to a family member or a close friend about their substance use. It's a time for everyone to express their concerns and encourage the individual to get help. Some professional can help with this. You might seek help from a doctor, a mental health professional, or an addiction care specialist before approaching a loved one with an intervention. An intervention may seem necessary when a loved one is either unaware of their problematic substance use or has previously declined to get treatment. Many believe that intervention can be an effective approach to convince a loved one to seek treatment. And with the appropriate planning and guidance, this may be the case. All right? So it says the two primary goals of intervention are number one, to help the person with the problem see the relationship between substance abuse and the problems in their life. Number two, to persuade the person to get into treatment. These are the two primary goals of intervention. Still, researchers don't have enough evidence to understand the efficacy of interventions. That's because while interventions can be effective in helping someone start treatment, they may be ineffective in helping them complete treatment or sustain their sobriety. Right? So that is something a lot of times people go into treatment programs. They may stay, they may not. They may complete the program, they may not. They may get, they probably would, if they complete the program, they probably would get a treatment plan. That is a continuum of care package where they put on a course to maintain their sobriety by going to NA or AA or recovery support group, continue with a regimen that is healthy, living a lifestyle that was, would put them in a place where they can succeed and thrive. And a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of times people don't have that luxury to remove themselves and go to a different environment. So sometimes it's a little harder for people who really don't have the necessary uh, resources to relocate. And so, therefore, when it comes to extra uh, care or extra support, that's when it's very crucial that people in these, like myself, in a position who's able to help people through the resources, help them navigate, and people who are in these groups help people network and find their way while they are trying to succeed in life. And so we all in this together. It's a non-judgmental zone. Somebody helped me, and so I'm willing to help someone along the way as well. So it's no problem for me. All right, next one. I believe this is the last one. Yep, and that is how to get your loved one into treatment. All right, how to get your loved one into treatment. There are several reasons why individuals don't seek treatment, including denial, the belief that they can quit whenever they want, fear, the stigma associated with substance misuse, privacy concerns, the cost of treatment, the geographic location of the treatment facility, admission availability problems, and more. Convincing them to get help is going to take patience and effort. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, better known as SAMHSA, recommends the following when talking to a loved one about their substance use. Here we go. Choosing a private area free from distraction to help to have the conversation, right? Choose a private area free from distraction to have the conversation. We're talking about how to get your loved ones into treatment. being direct with emotions and concerns, refraining from passing judgment and actively listening, offering help and assuring them that they can get sober, being patient. That's key. It's, it's, it's improbable that one discussion will cause a complete change in their behavior or convince them to enroll in rehab. You'll want to do your research on addiction and rehab options. All right. This article has 4 bullet options, and it reads: detoxification. That's number 1. Often the first step in a more comprehensive treatment program, drug detox allow the body to rid itself of the substance and other toxins while under the supervision of a medical professional. During medically managed detoxification, your loved one progresses through withdrawal as safely and as comfortably as possible. Number 2, inpatient rehab. Inpatient or residential treatment can be very effective, especially for individuals with a co-occurring mental health disorder. Your loved one's lives at the facility for the duration of treatment, where they receive 24-hour care, including counseling, medication, therapists that help them understand the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that led to the substance misuse in the first place and teach them effective ways to cope. Number 3, outpatient programs. All right, outpatient services often mirror inpatient care. Check that out. But your loved one remains at home or in a sober living resident and visit the facility for individual, group, and family therapy session and behavior therapy services. 2, this option may work well if you retain a supportive, substance-free home environment. And number 4, aftercare. Okay, so there's 4 steps. First is detox. Second step is inpatient rehab. The third step is outpatient program, and the 4th one is aftercare. Once formal treatment concludes, ongoing services help your loved one avoid relapse and maintain long-term recovery. Programs may include mutual health groups, counseling, alumni events, and more. All right. And so that is it for this segment, this hour. Once again, we were just talking about and sharing how does addiction affect family. Once again, this is our family meeting recovery support group. Glad that we was able to show and share some information. If you like what you hear, please join us every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Whether we live or pre-recorded, you can always get some good information from this recovery group, support group. Until the next time, my name is Craig. Take care of yourself, love on somebody, treat yourself, and remember, if your loved one is struggling with alcohol or drugs and mental health, our number 1 advice is if it's not an emergency, if it's an emergency, have them go to the emergency room, but always direct them to professional care. Someone from the professional field that deals with either substance abuse or mental health. All right, until then, take care.